Oh, yeah. What is freaking out? My name's Eve.
My name is Sara.
And we are Burnt Out Perfectionist.
Tis we are.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
I don't know why I feel like...
Wait, I feel like you're a little bit too high. It's okay. I felt like I was lower, and instead I just lowered the microphone.
I don't know if I sent it to you, Brett and Link and Basement Yard did a collab.
Yes.
And I was like, oh.
I was like, this is the best thing ever. I love where they're like, it looks like you or us, but in the future. And I died laughing. I was like, this is adorable. I love this.
I love Good Mythical Morning.
I know.
I used to watch it every single morning.
I know. I used to watch it all the time too. And then I don't know what happened.
Okay, before we get started, we're just going to do this.
Okay.
Because you're going to hit it again.
Oh, yeah. You couldn't hear it at all on the recording.
Really?
Yeah, nothing.
Oh, that's good.
I know.
I was just thinking of, editing Sarah if it was like, bam.
Right? Oh, my goodness.
I wonder if it's just on, your wrong side.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'm not, punching it.
Bam!
Bam!
What is your survive and thrive for the past week?
My survive is my brain has hurt. Just with, I'm trying to, organize everything in my brain, and it's not like there's, a million things, but my brain kind of hurts. I think mainly it's because of, the weather and the huge amount of weather shifts. But then I'm like, okay, let's get things done, and then out of nowhere, my brain's just and we're now shutting off at, 8:30, and then I just, pass the fuck right out and wake up in the morning.
It's convenient because that's when your child goes to bed.
Right? Our mom and my husband are sick and have a cold. And one of them is driving me insane. So.
And it's not our birth giver.
Yeah, no. That is, my survive. My thrive is, it's fucking cold outside and I have never been happier in the entire world. Even though the weather is affecting my brain, it just makes me so happy. The fall has arrived. It's a little chilly overnight, I'm not gonna lie. But it's allowed me to flip my clothes over, go through stuff, take stuff to Play-Dohs and stuff like that, get money for the things I'm not going to use. So that's been a great highlight and a lift off my brain, because less stuff equals less laundry equals less stinky.
Equals less stinky.
What about you?
My survive is...
The ringing in my ears is going so hard right now.
I'm trying to think of my survives. I don't really have a survive. I haven't been sleeping well, but that's usual. Yeah, I'm nothing's really.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't always have to be
I was trying to
holding off for dear life with something.
I was trying to think of it. Well, I said to our mom, I was like, God, I think I need to plan my cry. And then she was like, what? And I was like, so I'd say I am the least emotional in this. And I don't cry.
This is what we call emotionally constipated.
I'm not emotionally constipated. My brain processes things very quickly.
Yes.
So then in which I don't feel the need to express emotions.
Do you think that's more your personality or because of what you do for a living?
I've been like this my whole life.
So I know you have, but I'm just wondering if you feel like it's shifted even more in that direction.
No, I think it's more of an asset with my job.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't if there's a sad movie, it takes me a lot to cry.
Ugh, if there's a dog involved, I'm down for the fucking count.
And I know people are like, oh, it could be depending on your cycle. No. I'll watch something and be like, oh, that's dumb.
Oh, I'll literally watch something when it's the day before my period to make myself cry because I either cry or rage.
I don't cry very often. I probably cry, I'd say 3 times a year. 3 to 4. Quarterly. Have a quarterly cry. And I usually have to I know when I need to. And I have to ink it out of me. And it is so annoying. But then I do it and then I feel better.
Yeah.
It seems really psychopathic. I have to get it out of me.
Now, it's the whole programming. It's the way that your brain processes stuff. It's not a psychopath thing. It's just that everybody deals with things differently. I mean, I feel like someone turn around and be like, that's due to trauma because you don't go to therapy and blah, 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 blah. And it's but also look at all the free time I have for activities.
Not even that. It's just, I don't know. I feel like there's a process of many things, and my brain just is like, oh, you don't need to feel that.
Yeah.
And my thrive is, as per my Wicked sweater, we bought pre-sale tickets to the day before.
So it's like the pre-release or whatever. So it's November 20th that we're going to see it because we saw the Wicked Prime user thing, and apparently that's only applicable in the United States. So we cannot see it on the 17th of November, but we can see it on the 20th of November, and we were very excited. We pre-bought our tickets. We made sure we were at the back of the theater, and I did not pre-buy food because I want to see what cute shit they come out with.
Which the last like 2 movies that we've gone to, we've gone on opening night. Well, granted, Wicked last year was not planned.
No, it wasn't. I was like, I can't believe we're going opening night. And Eve goes, oh, I just bought tickets. I was like, oh.
Because I said I really wanted to go. And Sarah was like, oh, I really want to go too. And I was like, oh, well, let's go on Friday. Like, there's nothing else planned. And then we walked in and everybody was like, oh, I'm so excited for opening night. And Sarah's like, oh, yeah, isn't it so great? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Which a lot of the times in Canada we'll have it where you can see it on like the Thursday and it'll be later in the evening. So like a 7 or a 10 p.m. show. When it comes to Marvel is usually like a 10 p.m. showing because I used to go to all the Marvel movies when I lived in downtown Vancouver. I would literally go the night before with a giant bunch of nerds. We'd all just go to watch it because we didn't want anybody to spoil it. And that's even before TikTok. And Eve and I are like, we just want to see it and celebrate it. And I'll probably be blocking anything to do with Wicked on our feed for anybody who goes and sees it ahead of time on November 17th in the States because I don't want this to be ruined.
And then the other movie that we went opening night well, I didn't know that it was opening night, but I did it out of spite because I got a call from Sarah. I think it was like the Thursday. It was like the Thursday and the movie premiered on the Friday, and she called me and said, my husband, I need to ask you a question. And I was like, okay, is everything okay? She's like, my husband thinks that I don't want to see Wolverine and Deadpool. And I was like, oh, divorce? And she goes, he's gonna go with his coworker. No, it's not a female. Like, it was like 2 dudes.
Yeah.
Like, they were really sad. And said, oh, I didn't think you wanted to see it. I was like, excuse me.
Literally 2 of my favorite Marvel characters.
I have watched this woman drool over Ryan Reynolds for years. But we used to say, like, our dad used to say, pull out the bucket every time.
But the other thing is, I grew up watching X-Men every morning on Saturday and, like, loved X-Men. Literally ran to the theater every single time they came out with the movies. I didn't care if people said they were bad or whatever.
I know, but I just thought it was really fun. I was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, well, I was like, Mom, can we go to the theater tomorrow? And then I messaged her and I said, okay, you're staying over tomorrow, seeing it. And her husband was speechless.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I love to do things out of spite.
It was the best. And then she also took me to Red Robin.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, we're going to Red Robin too. This is a full fucking sister night. Here we go.
Well, because we went right after work. And then I was like, oh, I like packed pants. And like, for some reason, I don't know what dank ass smell was coming from my leggings.
Oh my God.
But it was so bad. And so we ran to, like, there's like a complex. And there was like a bunch of stuff. So like, we ran into a store and I was like, I just need like sweatpants. So then I bought sweatpants and I was like, oh, this could be great. And then we walked in and they were like, do you want the limited edition pumpkin bucket and cup? And I was like, yeah.
I think the difference was like $3 too. I was like, yes, I do.
Wasn't it $30? $3?
No, like the difference between getting the large with the piece with the candy and the popcorn. And then it was like, we're like, oh, we'll get the deal where you get two drinks, 2 popcorns and everything like that. And then they're like, do you want to upgrade? And we're like, yes.
And then it was like, oh, you can only have 1 per order. And then we split. We were always like,
the order, we're like, fuck this.
And the popcorn bucket's great.
It is great. It has worked several purposes in my home. I did advise Eve, though, that I 100% need to get a new crew neck because somehow my Glinda hoodie got right fucked up.
You did have the light pink one.
It's light pink. It's the one that was at Joe Fresh, which is sold at Superstore in Canada. And all over the back of it is like blotchy blue something or other. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? There's nothing like really on the front. I'm like, well, my back is not my business. But
Maybe it's like you're combining the two.
right. And I was like, and then Eve showed me this fucking hoodie from Hot Topic. That's wicked. Obviously, there's lots of different ones coming out. The Roots one, which I know is the Canadian brand, is all their stuff is so fucking expensive, but it's super cute. But the hoodie at Hot Topic is really cute. So in the coming weeks prior to the movie, I shall be looking for something. But Eve has an Elphaba one. So I would love to be Glinda. I love both characters, but
If we're completely honest, though, like, I'm definitely more of a alphabet.
oh, and I'm definitely more like, oh my God, I'm in a bubble. I'm out of nowhere. Oh, let me press the button. Oh, this back. Ooh, look at me go.
I'm gonna sparkly dressed in a wand, and I'd be like, "Can I have the black dress?"
Which I would personally lean towards the black dress just because I love black and it's versatile. But if somebody gave me a sparkly dress option, I'd definitely wear a sparkly dress.
Any event we've ever gone to, Sarah's like, "Oh my God, what's the brightest color I can wear?" And I'm like, "Can I wear black?" And I'm like, "Or can I wear navy?" Or like, can I wear like a dark green?
Yeah.
I think my immediate reaction is like, anytime I have to eat food for something, I'm like, "Don't give me a light dress," because I'm either gonna cover myself in napkins and like, it's so comfortable.
Right. That was like yesterday, where it's parent teacher conferences, and you want to look nice when you go. And I was wearing like this like waffle airy shirt. And I'm like, okay, this looks like cute and acceptable. And then I went to go eat green soup. And I was like, let me put on this like freebie hoodie for my husband's work so that way I can just fuck that up instead.
I know, and like, people will probably be like, "We'll learn how to eat normal," but sometimes it's like,
I'm a spilly talker, okay?
I know. Sometimes I'm like, "Oh, I want to eat something," and it's like a random drip of sauce is just like, meh.
Meh, here we go.
Oh, Omar and Mac. Omar, I love Omar. He's a TikToker.
Okay.
Him and I think it's just his boyfriend. Fabulous man. I moved from San Francisco to New York.
Oh, okay. I remember. We've talked about them
Oh
before.
God, because all they do is talk about food. And it makes me so happy. And the pastries. And I just love how, like, they're like, "Oh, yeah, we went to this overly hyped coffee shop and the coffee was mid." I'm like, "Thank you."
That's what drives me bonkers is stuff like that. There's this guy who's on my feed right now. I can't remember who he is for the life of me, but people will message him and be like, go to my uncle's place that's in Harlem. Or like all these places
Keith
around
Lee?
New York. No, it's not Keith Lee.
Oh.
It's a different person.
Oh my God. Is he Caucasian?
No, he's African American. And he's usually wearing like a white t-shirt and like jeans, but he's always like,
That's the only man
okay,
that was white girl dancing.
he's like, okay, but here I go. And then he'll be like, oh, well, clearly I need to do that. And then he will like, you'll see him sometimes like get ready and then he'll go. And he's like, okay, perfect. And he's promoting all these specifically smaller businesses versus going to like whatever people see as trending. He's gone to places that are like trending and he's like, well, that was the lamest bagel I've ever had in my life. I think he just like is new to New York. I could be incorrect, but I feel like he's not from there because he's chronically trying to find other places to go.
Yeah. But I also feel like food in general has just like, I don't know.
I saw this. I sent it to Eve, this like TikTok. And then I totally agreed with my husband because there's this specific chain company that's in Vancouver. I'm not going to state their name, but if you know anything about downtown Vancouver restaurants, you can definitely peg which one I'm talking about. And everywhere you go, even if it has a different name and a different vibe, all the food's the fucking same, which I understand that there's like a system, but like it's literally all the same. And there's distributors for food and stuff like that that you can go to. And I'm not putting them down. They help tons of companies and cafeterias and stuff like that. And folks are just buying like the pre-prepared stuff, like mozzarella sticks, for example, and then all cooking them, selling them at varying prices, and then claiming, oh yeah, these are our signature ones or whatever. And it's like, no, those are literally directly from this manufacturing company.
I want to try Chili's triple dipper so badly. Sorry, that I heard mozzarella sticks and my brain just went Chili's.
I know we're getting a Chipotle where we live, and our husband, geez, that was weird. My
I'm sorry.
my
Ew.
husband mentioned as we were driving past, oh yeah, that's where, and instead of saying Chipotle, he said Chili's, and I said, I beg your friend his fucking pardon. And he's like, what? And he goes, oh, I mean Chipotle, that's where it's going. And I was like, I got so excited. He's like, well, why would you want to eat at Chili's? Like, doesn't most of their stuff have cheese on it? I'm like, dude, they have so many options for people like me overall. And they have gluten-free and dairy-free options for anyone who's looking for that. And they don't taste like ass, which I think is a big thing. So now that we've talked all about the food and everywhere around, we've alluded several times to this episode because we wanted to hold a social experiment between Eve and I's households. And it is actually trying to pre-plan for that question that you have to answer every day of your life once you become an adult of, what are we having for dinner?
365 days.
Fucking worst question ever. I love when people go, oh, I don't care. Just make what you want. Fuck you. I need ideas. I'm clearly asking for a reason. Or you give options. Okay, I'm going to make ribs. Like last night, I was like, I'm going to make ribs. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, do we want rice or pasta? And I heard yes. And I was like, I beg your pardon. My husband's like, oh, I really want pasta because my throat hurts because I'm sick. And our daughter's like, well, I'm going to,
What?
yeah, I know. Our daughter's like, oh, I don't really want pasta right now. I'm like, well, what if I made mac and cheese for you guys? And then I just made myself something else on the side of the ribs. No. And then she said rice. I'm like, okay, whatever. Maybe I can like make something for my lunch that involves rice. And then my kid goes, you know what I really want? I just want ribs and hard boiled eggs. I'm like, oh, we just want protein right now. Okay. You're going to be so gassy tomorrow. And my husband continued with the, I want the pasta. I was like, okay. And I'd only pulled out the meat. And this is the first time I didn't have anything that was like planned. So I will let Eve go into what her household did, and then I will go into the details of what my household did.
I guess it's my whole household. We actually only have 3 people per household.
Yes.
So in June of this past year, I sat down with her mom and I said, okay, we need to figure out a better dinner plan. And it's best to try it now. We can go into August and trial it and then continue it in September. And she was like, okay. Mom doesn't like making dinner. Her mom doesn't like meal planning. Nor does she really like grocery shopping.
She doesn't like anything to do with that.
She was like, okay, cool. So, in July, well, end of June, I scoured the internet of Pinterest. I literally I read so many recipes, I could probably list how to make every single sauce in the world. Including every single wife pregnant with their 8th child who is making these meals. I'm sorry, all those blog posts, I can't. I tried so hard. So I wrote down a bunch of frozen meals, went to the grocery store, bought everything, did a big day of, the first time we did it only took 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And we made about 20 freezer meals, and then we ate them all of August, which was great. We got to figure out which ones we liked, which ones we didn't like. And then we revisited in August, and we've continued it for September and October because we didn't really do it much. We did it in September, but when you were here for a week, it's like I planned meals associated with that, but I didn't actually know like meals we were having.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I basically just planned everything. I didn't put it in a Excel spreadsheet. Everything was in a binder. And it worked out to be, I think, well, because we also had to buy a lot of spices because we didn't, like, we were at the point too that we were running out of everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would rather buy stuff in bulk. Makes it easier. So I think it cost in total with all of the stuff like $500 for 20, I think it was more like 24 meals. And then anything, so we would make like Mexican casserole, and then any leftover filling, we would make burritos. So then we have frozen burritos. And I think like if we counted every one of those, it'd probably be like 30 meals for 500.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. It's about,
That's not bad at all. That's actually really good.
and then, well, because we have a Costco. We have a Costco. I refuse to shop at Walmart. Solely, and Superstore. I wish I could handle them more, which you can giggle, that I can handle Costco, but I can't handle those two. They're so bright and there's so many humans
Yes.
that it just, I'm the type of person that, like, if something's not at a grocery store, I just don't get it that week. And then I'd go the next week. So, we mainly go to, like, 2 grocery stores.
Yeah, so it works out to $16.70. So if we end up $17 per meal, 500 divided by 30.
So that's about, like, $5 per person.
Yeah, which is, I think, significant. And given that most of the time you had enough leftovers for the next day.
Yeah.
If not the next day after the next day.
What I also found was really annoying that people didn't describe was, like, they would use Ziploc bags, which, great, in theory. But nobody would talk about where they got the, like, flat casserole containers.
Oh, yeah.
And it bugged me so much. Because I was like, I just want to know how to store these properly. They're good. Like, sometimes they
So,
don't
like,
work out.
the modifications that you guys made based on, like, when you did it at the beginning versus, like, when you did it the second time.
The first time we did a lot of, like, random recipes. So our brother doesn't like a lot of Asian foods, so we don't do. It was a lot of Mexican and, like, Italian. Things that we changed were the enchilada sauce. We accidentally got really spicy the first time. The first time we bought everything, like, pre-made, so, like, we didn't shred our. Well, actually, did we shred our cheese?
Did you
No.
buy a rotisserie chicken?
We bought our rotisserie chicken. We had, like, chicken breasts and stuff like that because some of them you do raw. We bought shredded cheese and, like, we bought all of those. We bought Alfredo sauce just because it was, like, easier at that time. The second time we, like, modified, like, the Hawaiian chicken, which we haven't had again yet. So we don't know if it's good yet. Who knows? We altered, like, we shredded our own cheese, which I know people are like, oh my god, you shredded your own cheese. Wow. It is such a difference, and it melts so much better.
It does melt so much better. So I'm like, random fact. A lot of the time they'll either dust it with flour or cornstarch, depending on the company, or some other type of like wheat byproduct. So that way the shredded cheese doesn't stick together, which means that 99% of shredded cheese, anybody who is gluten-free or celiac literally cannot have it. Or they'll use potato starch, which is another thing. And my friend, one of my best friend's husbands is actually allergic to potatoes. It does make a huge difference. It does. But of course, with anything that you do, because there's no type of preservative to hold it, it will expire faster.
Yeah. And when you freeze it, like, we bought a big thing of saran wrap and a big thing of tinfoil from Costco. And a majority of, like, the pans that we used in the first one, we reused for the next one. So I think, like, we need to find more recipes. It also depends on, like, where you live, what the seasonal switchover is. And, like, some meals you can't freeze, or you have to freeze after the fact. So, like, you don't want to make, like, chili. Chili you can't really, like, throw in a bag and then shove it in. Like, you can, but, like, it's better to, like, let it meld over.
Yeah, it's better like over time. Like if you put chili in the crock pot even the night before and then have it. But like you said, that's one of those things where if you don't freeze it ahead of time, because that'll cause a lot of like water and stuff like that too, then you don't have to reduce it down as much. And then if you don't eat it all, you can pack it up and then freeze it for later. So that way, if you just want to have chili one day, you can.
And I also like to state, we weren't a family that, like, ate out every day.
No.
It was, like, we got to the point that, like, we didn't take out chicken. So we would have, like, Mr. Noodles. And, like, it was, like, every time we would come home, it was, like, oh, I'm too tired. And it would get to, like, 8 p.m. And it was, like, I don't want to eat anything.
Yeah.
So, I think once we started it, a big thing that, like, made it easier was that you didn't have to think about it. And her mom even said, I feel like I'm cheating on dinner. And I'm like, that's the whole point. Like, the freezer meals that you can buy at, like, the store.
Oh, they feed like one person now. Even the large ones, they don't feed that many people. The funny thing is like, it's like Michelinas or whatever. I mean, some people can survive on that, but I've watched how those containers have gone down to like half or a quarter of what they used to be.
I'll even think of, like, the compliments ones. So, like, the lasagna.
Yeah.
The, what other ones do they have? They have like chicken lasagnas. They have regular lasagnas. If you break it down, like it's like $10 for which isn't bad.
No.
But it's also like you can make your own lasagna and like
It's better and it's more filling. Like I could eat half before if it didn't have cheese on it. I could easily eat like half one of those small pans of lasagna.
And it just, I don't know, it just tastes so much better. And also you like feel better because like you were making the food.
Yeah.
Granted, like you're not making everything because like you're not grounding the meat.
You might not be.
You're not killing
like
the cow.
Nona who's coming to hang out with you, but
Yeah.
for most folks, that's not the way that it works.
And we're not making the pasta, obviously. But it makes it a lot easier and like it's like annoying the day of because you get really hot. I feel like if you prepped it better and you did a majority of it in the fall and winter, in like spring it wouldn't be that bad. But I did try to start it in the summer.
Yeah.
And it was 40 degrees. And I was cooking a 10-pound thing of beef.
Yeah.
And sweating.
But to counter that, you were doing that for one day for a couple hours versus like having to cook all that stuff, all that meat every single day. But you still had to like cook the meals, like put them in the oven or whatever, which then causes like residual heat.
Yeah. Well, we don't as much though, because like with the air fryer, like we have the bigger air fryer. And then the nice thing too is that you always have leftovers. And certain ones that we realized, like chicken enchiladas, you don't actually need as many like in theory, like you look at them and you're like, oh my god, I need 2, and then you get 1 down and you're like, I'm dying.
Especially because you're regulating how much filler's in there. So a lot of the ones, if you go to get them and everything, it'll be a different ratio. And depending on what kind they are, say maybe they favor rice over meat or more beans over meat. And maybe that's not something that really, fills you up.
Well, a lot of the time too, a lot of the meals that you get or like you eat food and stuff like that, you're like, oh, you don't feel great afterwards.
Yeah.
And so it hasn't been as much of an issue of like not feeling right.
What? Yeah, that comes down to like, all the fun things like additives and all the other stuff.
And like also the difference between fresh vegetables versus like frozen vegetables. Like we still add it into everything.
Yeah.
It's not like we just ditch it.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go through, never mind, I need to go through and find more.
Find some more recipes.
So I'm the meal planner and Sarah is not the meal planner.
Well, like I did it a different way just because I don't really have, like, Eve has a really large chest freezer. I love how you're giggling. Like a very large chest freezer. Like a deep freeze. Like she has a really big one. I live in a smaller place with a smaller one that still it has things in it that I've purchased because, say, I could get them for free with points, like at Save on Foods, like the ham or the turkey or whatever. And then like some roasts that I got randomly that were on sale, like they're in there and I could use them, but I'm like, I must have a plan so that way I do not waste these things. Which those plans were when it gets colder, throw them in a crock pot and then split it up that way versus trying to let it thaw out and then cook it in the summertime and make my house hot as fuck. So
yeah.
What I did was I utilized some like online tools like AI and stuff like that. Hate on me if you want. I needed something else to use its brain.
I have beef though with AI because I tried I was like, give me freezer meal ideas, and the things like I wrote a list of like, this is what we can't have, this is what we can't. The freezer meals it gave me was like chicken noodle soup.
Oh, so I did the same thing and I was like, no, this is not going to fucking fly. Like, I'm like, no, we're adventurous. Like, we'll try other things just because we have these things that we're allergic to or can't eat.
Thank you.
I know. I feel like it's really hit and miss. Also, sometimes it's completely wrong when it's like, quote, helping you total things. And I'm like, no, that's completely wrong. Also, where's this? I said to add this to the list. Why is it not on there? Like, there's a lot of like fighting that goes on with it. And some people are like, it's just because you haven't programmed enough. Look, I've been working with the same one for like over a fucking year now and it's still stupid. So, what I did was I did it based off of budget, what I was able to allocate for like that week. I did it on a week by week basis. And then, pulled the flyers, like the sales flyers for the area for the stores that I was willing to go to, state it that way. And then I also had like a list of like what I had on hand or anything I pre-ordered because there's like this produce service that I use and anything that I had in my freezer to utilize. I didn't list any spices up because I have a ton and I figured worst comes to where if it asks for something, I could either sub it or just go buy it at the store. So I did it that way. I was going between the sales the budget way and the budget with a theme per day, which I've seen, where it's like every Monday is like some people have like meatless Monday or they have just like sheet pan Thursday or something. So
That lady with the binder, she whips out and she's like, it's Tuesday.
I know.
And then, like, I saw the whiteboard one. Have you seen it?
I've seen so many different ones.
They just pop up all over. I'm like, oh, this seems great.
I know there's some great ideas, but I also know that if I stuck to something too many times on a certain day, either my husband or I would be like, oh, God, this again? Which is the worst because then it would just like completely throw me off track and I would have other things. The other rule that I made for myself is when I planned it out, I would get the ingredients and all the other stuff and have a list of the ideas for the things and how they would overlap for like lunches, but also not just to like at first I stuck to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then other times it was I have this allocated for today. And then if everybody was like, I don't really want this, I'm like, I also have this listed. Okay, cool, I want that. I was willing to swap versus like sticking to it. So I ran it all the way through and I'm like, hey, make me like a grocery list of what I need. There was a lot of editing and going back and forth. So it wasn't like a quick process by any fucking means. And sitting there, it probably took me like 2 hours to get something that was even understandable and estimating out like with budgets and everything. The first time I did it, I printed out the list and put it on a clipboard and gave it to my child. And then literally said, we are sticking to the list. We are not getting anything outside of this list. Did my husband get 2 or 3 things? Of course he did, and put them in the cart. And I was like, that was not the fucking plan. So I went in with wanting to spend like $120, which I figured was smart. I saw in the flyers, there was lots of stuff that was on sale. So I was like, we can figure this out. Also, we have lots of stuff. So we went through, we checked it all off, and surprise, surprise, the math was incorrect.
And can you please put your hand away from the wire, like, just me out?
The math was incorrect for the estimation of the things. And I was even checking prices and I was going between 2 different stores and I had like, this is the list for Walmart. This is the list for Superstore, like that type of thing. And it was off by, what was it? $40 for the Walmart list, which I was like, that's a lot. But again, my husband put other things in, but I still would have been over budget. And then for the Superstore one, it was over by like $30. So I ended up spending like more than what I anticipated on spending. But I also had put more aside, figuring that the calculations, because I've caught it several times, not calculating it correctly. And I was like, I'm not about to dump this into a fucking spreadsheet and do this myself. Like, that'll take too long. I need to go grocery shopping, and I have the motivation now to do this. So, yes, over, but then we stuck to it, and it was really nice. I just came home. I have it printed, put it on my fridge, looked at it, was like, okay, today I'm making this. And then I also had a note on on there as well. So it would be what we're having, what would be like ideas for our kid for lunch, like to pack for lunch for stuff that she likes. So that way I didn't have to think about that in the morning. What we would be packing for adult lunches and what the ideas were. So my husband works from home, so he could just like look at it if he wanted to or choose his own adventure, but not to touch anything that we had bought because I'm like, that's allocated. And then what if I needed to take anything out to put it in the fridge, like say if we had like frozen sausages or whatever, I could take out and put in the fridge so it could defrost versus coming home and being like, oh my fucking God, it's not here. And then it taking longer and me getting completely distracted. So that worked really well. I did also add in things that I would be like actually making. So my kid was over a majority of like store-bought granola bars, which I know was fine. I was making them, and then she got over those. So then we went back to the Costco ones, but my husband still likes them. Or like making muffins, like also changing up different things that we could have for breakfast. Because before we were kind of sticking to like hash browns and breakfast sausages, and my daughter and I were like, I'm fucking over those. Like, I can't eat them. My husband likes it because it's an easy throw in the air fryer, but we were like, I can't handle these anymore. It's gross. So then it like yogurt and granola, like having other options, so it wasn't always the same thing. Also, sometimes it's like, do you want toast? We have 5 minutes. So that went along. It went well, and we did end up utilizing a lot of the stuff. Some of the things yielded way more than what I thought they would. I mean, like, I was like, oh, I'll make roast pan dinner. I had to use 2 cookie sheets.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh shit. Also, I completely underestimated. I had chicken breasts in my freezer, which I figured out the best ones are the Western family ones from Save On that are frozen. You get so much more for like the price. And then when they're on sale, it's like a ridiculously good deal. I don't know. Those chicken breasts are as big as my titties. Like, they were huge. And I was like, oh, they'll reduce down in size as they cook. I think they got bigger. Like, I was like, holy crap. And I ended up eating it over 2 days for like dinner and stuff like that. My husband had like events that he was going to where food was provided. And I just ended up eating it for like 2, 3 days. I was like, this is good. In fact, I think I have a container in Eve's fridge that I need to empty. Come to think of it now.
Oh.
Yeah, I just realized that. Unless I already took that. But any hoozle.
Who had the beets?
So it did reduce down on waste because I wasn't forgetting about things that I had in my fridge. It did allow me to plan ahead because the produce order comes on Wednesdays. So it allowed me to make sure that I wasn't buying stuff at the store, which I was then getting on the Wednesday because like I usually go shopping on the Sunday. So it helped a lot with that. It totally eliminated trying to figure out what I need to have for dinner. So like I said, I could either choose any of the preset meals or just like stick to the days. And sometimes I'd wake up in the morning and be like, especially on like a Monday. So after editing, and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to put this in her lunchbox. Because I don't know if anybody else's kid, you ask them what they want and they just go, oh, I don't know. Or I don't care. Put anything in there. And you're like, no, that does not help me in this decision for 5, 6. And it allowed me to utilize a lot of stuff that I had in my freezer already, which is great. So overall, it was a win. The only thing though is I didn't do it. I kind of did it, but only half did it. And I found that I don't know what is going on in our area or just in Canada in general. A lot of things have almost doubled in price, which I thought it was going to be different, but apparently it's not.
I also find that like a lot of things like spices and stuff like that, why are spices so expensive?
I know, unless you get them on sale, like if you get dried ones, the max is anywhere between $2 and $3, or $2 and $4, unless you get them in one of those fucking jars. Then they're like $5. But if you get like the packets or the sachet ones, or whatever the fuck you call them, I just love saying sachet. Um, you can get them, or they'll have some type of like 3 for whatever deal, and that's usually when I stock up on like essentials, like onion powder, garlic powder. I get like chili flakes, paprika, stuff like that. Oh, dill.
I buy a lot of like the onion powder, garlic powder from the dollar store.
Mm-hmm.
Same
It's
with,
the same shit.
same with pasta.
Yeah.
Why is pasta so expensive in the store?
It can be. That's one of those things that I watch out for, and I'll always buy if it's on sale, especially if it's under $1. If it's like 97 cents for like a big ass bag of pasta, I don't care what shape it is, I will buy it.
I've never been one to like really care about the shape of pasta. Like, this is a bow tie sauce, not a penny sauce. I'm like,
My husband says that too, and I look at him and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And he's like, well, the spiral pasta holds meat sauces better than the other ones. And I was like, I do not care. Pasta, sauce, meat, eat. Like,
food is food.
food is food. I don't really care. I also think it's really funny when it's only certain pasta shapes that are on sale.
I know, and I'm like, it's pasta. Like, I understand being like, oh, I don't want to have like an orzo spaghetti.
Yeah.
But like, penny versus bow tie.
But also, if that was my only option, I would do it. I don't care.
Texture. I think a lot of the time too, when you think of it, it seems like a lot. Like the planning portion.
It's for me, it's the anticipation of sitting and doing it. Like I was like, how fucking long is this going to take for me to figure this out and do this? And I also had to be like, it's not going to be perfect. Like no matter how many times you try to do this, don't try to perfect it because you'll just spend fucking 6 hours trying to make this perfect list. And then you'll never go to the grocery store because you'll be so exhausted.
A lot of the time, like I did planning on a separate day. So our mom has this light blue binder that she used to copy from like magazines at the library.
Yes.
Back in like the 90s. And so we went through that binder. We went through, I bought this one that was like meals, freezer meals. It wasn't that good. And then I just went on Pinterest and then I went on TikTok, which I'd also like to say to the people on TikTok, I don't want to have to go through 50 steps just to try to find a recipe.
There's so many like steps and stuff like that when it comes to things. The other one is when I see the product and I go, oh, it looks like something I can eat. And then they start going through the recipe and read at the end. They're like, no, stir in the heavy cream. This is the best part of the whole meal. And I'm like, well, fuck.
I also find a lot of the meals too, they're not like, they'll be like, oh, I'm making, so like our mom's not a huge fan of Indian spices. They just don't sit well with her. Our brother's not a huge fan of like Asian food. I love Asian food.
Yeah, me too. I was like, that's 90% of what my family ends up eating.
So like I can get away with it sometimes, but also like you have to watch with what you freeze for that. And then you go into like there's only so many days that you want like potatoes and roast.
I know I made sure based on things that were on sale, I had quick options for like when we had activities and stuff like that. After, if I didn't think it was going to work out for me or a meal that I had planned for that week. So one of them was purchasing like dumplings or wontons and pre-purchasing ones that were on sale in like a huge bag that would last 2, maybe 3 meals. And they were like $3.88. And then I'm making sure that I had a broth and other like simple soup type vegetables. And I made just like chicken broth. I put like spinach, green onions, some ginger, some garlic, and some other like seasonings and stuff in there. And then I cooked the dumplings and then I put them in like the soup. And that's what we had one of the days where it was just like quick. It was quick. It was easy. I filled this up. You had and the dumplings and stuff like that, or the wontons that I was using, had veggies and meat in them.
I think a lot of the time my brain just like turned off.
I know. I was like, was that really boring? I'm so sorry. I was just trying to explain like simple little things I had.
I had dumplings and I went, oh, that girl in dim-fi tongue. I was eating it last night while I was on TikTok. It just looks so good.
I know, right?
I think a lot of the too is like when people hear like $200, $500 when you're like budgeting for this, like a lot of the time too, like the things that you buy initially. So if I buy the big jar of minced garlic from Costco,
Yes,
the garlic. I'm not going to be using that in 1 month.
No, like if you pay a higher price, or even sometimes it's the same amount, you can save so much. Like I could purchase garlic, like actual fresh garlic, and ginger. My brain stopped there for a second too. And ginger, I could buy it. If you don't store it properly, then it can like shrivel up, it can go bad. Sometimes garlic just like doesn't hit, like some of the different brands, or I guess it depends on the season or where it came from. Sometimes it just has like no power and you have to use way more. So because I know that I generally lean more towards recipes that are of the Asian persuasion, I get things from the international section like garlic and ginger that are together in a jar. So that way I can just go plop, it's done. Or I'll just get garlic so that way I can add it to things. And I know some folks are like, oh, you could do that yourself and whatever. I haven't reached that level of homestead yet. I may not store that properly, and the grater and I are not friends. So it's actually a safer and more efficient option for me to have it. And I had one, and they're posted to last like 2 years. And for me, it lasted like a year. And it's a very large jar, and I paid $4 for it. So
I think there's also a thing to be said about learning about compromise with the meals. So for me, like, if I was doing this for the first time, the planning took a lot
yes.
to do. So to me, like, there was one meal that was like Alfredo sauce, tortellini, and a rotisserie chicken. I have an air fryer that can make a rotisserie chicken, but you know what? I'm going to buy the rotisserie chicken, I'm going to buy the tortellini, and I'm going to buy the Alfredo sauce. Was it salty? Yes. But it also meant like, oh, is this a good standard meal that I think I would like to have? You know what? Our mom didn't like it. I thought it was the best meal. And I think it was like Parmesan or something like that. No. So then you alter it, and then as you like start to go, like my friend's getting into her bread girl era. And she's been making like baguettes and all of this like sourdough stuff. And I'm like, oh, I could really go for like making like mini pizzas and then freeze them, because it's something that we can eat and it's easy, but it's not like, I don't like this, not like avant-garde meal that it's like, oh my God, I'm eating I'm sorry, I'm not a 4-course meal person.
Oh, that sounds exhausting. I did that once and I was full after the salad, which, just to let you know, is the second portion. The first part was like this tiny soup, and the second part was the salad. And I was done.
Like, I don't, if I'm eating something, I just want it all at once. Just let me finish it. And then you can go into like desserts and you can make like different things. I think a lot of the time it seems daunting and people are like, oh, I only have a family of like, it's just me and my partner. You can do it in any way. Like, and a lot of the food that you get like fast food and you think that it's like so much easier. Really, it's not.
Sometimes it's not. Yeah, sometimes it's not easier. Obviously, like health-wise, it's better to like get your own stuff or whatever and plan it out. I think ignoring all of that stuff is just better that you ensure that you're like feeding your body. Well, you can meal prep whatever way that works best for you and your family. You can do it ahead of time, like what Eve did. You can do it week by week, like what I did. You just need to like figure out what works for the group, for your lifestyle, all that other kind of stuff. And if something doesn't work, don't forget that there's a million other ways of doing it. Estimate the amount of like decision fatigue that you'll have.
I think also to stay like, oh, it's healthier for you to make it at home is a misconception though.
Oh, especially if you're like heavy-handed with like butter.
Not butter, but like, I think when people are like, oh, well, I made it from home, I can eat so much more of it because it's better than buying it. Like, there's not as much processed stuff, but like, still in theory, like, you should put like vegetables in, you should still put enough fiber in. And like, also, like, there's people in LA who like literally buy meals that they deliver to their house that is like the cleanest food on the face of the planet.
Allegedly.
Well, like, the people literally make it and then deliver it to them.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like to say, oh, well, it's healthier to eat it from home. In theory, it should be, but not always.
Yeah, exactly. So let us know down below what your system is. Whether you can comment this on our social media, or if you're currently listening to us on YouTube. Are you team prep? Are you team choose your own adventure? Are you team pivot at any point in time? Pivot?
Freeze your plan, freeze your meal.
Anything like that. Let us know what you do, so that way hopefully you can inspire other people or even give us other ideas, because I don't know if this is something to continue with. And we all know, especially when it comes to ADHD brain, we love to choose a new adventure at any point in time and get sick of things. So yeah, let us know and stay as warped and twisted as ever. Peace. We'll be back next Monday with more in store. Catch you then, we're always here for more.